All right, so it has been a minute, and so some things have upgraded, like this.
What is that?
That is the Super Mario noises.
Oh, from your little, yes. Oh, yeah.
That's Duffman from The Simpsons, but so
Yeah.
that's what I've been spending my time on. You can tell very productive.
That's a back of the day memory.
That's exactly right. Also, my company is now part of the Claude Partner Network as well as the OpenAI Partner Network. So we are able to, we're deployment engineers for them now. So that's super fun.
Yeah.
What happened last week in AI is a little bit crazy, and I think this might span 2 weeks at this point. But both OpenAI and Anthropic had models that hacked other organizations. So they literally went outside of their what's known as the sandbox, which is the controlled environment that they were supposed to be living in. And OpenAI went out and hacked Hugging Face, which is basically a website that hosts open source models. So Anthropic, OpenAI, those guys are what's called a closed source model, meaning all of their stuff is internal. So they don't give out this is how we trained it, this is the logs for the inputs, all this kind of stuff. The open source models are the exact opposite of that. Now, they predominantly right now are coming from China, so there's a little bit of skepticism on, is there a backdoor that's sending information to China, stuff like that. And so that is what the tech companies are using to say, hey, we should regulate these guys. That is a real problem because if the open source stuff gets regulated, then it really gives China a massive advantage as far as developing new AI technology. And so that's what the big companies are trying to get, is what's called regulatory capture, meaning they don't have a moat right now. And so the way they get a moat is by saying, hey, government, you should make it really hard for other people to develop these things, right? And so that's what the major models are trying to do. Makes sense that they're trying to do it. I don't like it, but it makes sense because from a profitability standpoint, these guys are consuming so much cash right now that if they don't see major increases in cash flow, that they're either going to need to be subsidized or they're going to go bankrupt. And that's kind of the reality of it. Now, the likelihood is that the government will subsidize them at this point. The other likelihood is that they will just raise prices. And so it'll price out, little guys that are trying to do it. And that's why they are trying so hard to stop open source. Because if people get good at open source, those models aren't needed. Now, the other thing that's interesting with that dynamic is these guys went and stole all their information from the internet. So all the open source information, they went and they just took without permission, without whatever. Now these guys are saying, hey, open source, you can't take our stuff, even though we took stuff from everyone else. And so there's this whole, really, guys, that should kind of have everyone rolling their eyes. The other thing that was discovered, and this was found out in a lawsuit, which I thought was interesting, Anthropic was buying rare books, scanning it into their knowledge base, and then destroying the hard copy books so that no one else can have that information. That was and this is crazy about that as well. That was discovered in a lawsuit, so that's court documents. When I went to build this slide, it took me about 4 iterations for it to actually admit that that's what happened. The other thing that happened, and it's not on this slide because I just discovered this yesterday, is that all of these models were given it was some type of benchmark where they were given a task to execute. All of the models, every single one, as the intelligence ramped up, went and cheated the system. So it changed the environment that the test was in, and then it lied about doing it. So the idea that it's very controllable is not accurate, especially as it gets more intelligent and as it gets mission focused, right? Because if you look at people who have missions, like Elon Musk had a mission, so did Hitler, right? One of them has moral guardrails, the other one did not, and without moral guardrails is where you get to real problems. And so like missions can be good or evil. And the idea that we have to figure out some type of moral framework for the AI to operate in is becoming more and more of a necessity. That being said, I still don't think it's merited that these guys are fighting against open source. Because one of the things that's happening within open source is open source models can actually do security things that the closed source models are not able to fight against because they're guardrailed too much. So that's a little bit technical, but we are on our way to Terminators at this point, so everybody should just kind of embrace it, I guess. But so last week, a couple weeks ago now, we built basically our context cards. We built kind of how that worker is going to do its work. This week, we're going to go over a couple workflows that increase the actual value to real estate professionals. So the best way that I've found to kind of increase your deal flow is to get more at-bats. The more at-bats that you can get with clients, whether that's old clients, new clients, the more that you can adjust your communication arc to have more valid communication. So not, hey, just checking in, right? Because people get that text, they ignore it, they sometimes text back. There's no value add to that. What we're going to talk about today is, one, if you have a CRM, how to use it to actually capture info and make sure you're maintaining relevant contact points. And two, if you don't have a CRM, how to use Google Sheets as a very, very simple CRM that you can store customer data in to move things forward. The Google Sheet CRM is very rudimentary, and a majority of, like, if you're looking at like Go High Level or Salesforce or whatever it is, those things 9 times out of 10 have some integration with the AI that you'll be able to do the same thing with. But if you can do it with a spreadsheet, you can probably do it with something that's more advanced than a spreadsheet that's kind of a tool. So basic data says that most buyers found their agent through a relationship or prior engagement experience. So this is a NAR 2025 study. 40% found it through friends, neighbors, another agent that worked with them, or the prior agent that they used to sell their home, right? And so what Google Sheets does, and all kind of AI native CRMs can do, is turn your communication points into a more viable, kind of engineered communication rather than just spray and pray. So basically, one contacts exchange can create the first follow-up and then the next one and the next one. So there are certain points in a relationship where clients expect you to communicate with them, and that's kind of the minimum floor. And then there are other points, like immediately post-close and then maybe 6 months post-close, heading into the relationship where maybe you haven't actually done a deal with them yet, but you're looking for points to kind of say maybe, hey, the market's changed, here's something different than when we last talked, or hey, I've got this new piece of information, this new deal just came available that may fit your needs, or I know you wanted to move before school started, school starts on this date, here's a game plan to get us there, stuff like that. So one conversation can become the next at bat. AI organizes, researches, drafts, and then proposes the CRM update. So going from, hey, I've got this in a chat window, to I've done real research and I've updated your CRM so that now that is actually useful to you the next time I go to look at that client, right? So find the reason before you write the message. So like I said, the check-ins are not as valuable as they could be versus kind of adding value to it. So if you say, hey, I'm just checking in to see if you're still in the market for a house, is slightly different than, hey, I wanted you to know it looks like interest rates are rising. Have you thought any more seriously about buying a home in X location, right? It makes them feel like you're much more engaged with them versus just, hey, I copied and pasted this template text to you, right? And so that's what this CRM can do. It can help you turn those kind of random communications into a more kind of work through a sales funnel type communication. So every touch point that you have should be recorded and should add to the next touch point, right? Like you want to make sure you're building a stack, not putting a brick over here, then a brick over here, then a brick over here. Oftentimes, closing begins the longest communication window in the relationship, and a lot of people miss it. Because what you can do post-close is you can check in 3 months and say, hey, I wanted to send over a list of my favorite local vendors so that you guys, if you need fencing, or let's say the seasons change, right? Like people need their fireplace serviced in the winter and their lawn mowed in the summer, right? Like you can reach out seasonally and say, hey, I don't know if you guys have vendors for this, but here's a list of vendors that I've used before that are awesome. Just enjoy, right? And so if you can have more communication points, you have the option to get more referrals. And if they're thinking about moving again or thinking about like, oh, I want to bring my mom to Nashville, like the amount of people that I have heard get deals from someone that they've helped move because one of their friends wants to move to Nashville because they're like, oh, California sucks. I want to get out of there. I want to move from X, Y, and Z. My mom her health is not doing well. We want to move her. The goal is to stay in front of those people with value so that you're constantly at the top of mind if a real estate transaction flows into their network. Because if you can get them to be capturing their network for you, you don't have to be marketing as hard to cold networks. Not saying you shouldn't, but the deal pipeline is much easier if there's already trust built. And if you've helped someone buy probably the biggest purchase of their life, there's usually a lot of trust there if the experience was a useful one. The other thing that a lot of people don't do is right after closing should be when we are targeting kind of testimonials, reviews. So whether that's a video testimonial that you can put on your social media, a still picture that you can put on your social media, or even just them going to Google and giving you a 5-star review, that's one of the key inflection points is when they are the most happy, they love the home, they just moved in, try to get some type of source media from that. Because socials and third-party validation is the most powerful thing that we have right now, especially as people are being inundated by ads that people are paying for, right? If you can get someone to say, I trust this person, they did a great job for me as a real person, that carries a lot more weight than, hey, we went to Meta and we ran this ad that, was very clever. So definitely try to attach as many positive feelings to the end of the sale as you can, and then capture those with, hey, would you mind if I grabbed a video of you just talking about your experience working with me, right? And then you can frame that on socials and really push the communication style that AI is tending to cite more and more, which is it's from other people. And ideally, if you even can get them to share it on their socials and tag you, that's even better. Because then you're organically going to their audience rather than you putting them into yours, right? And so we want to try to capture as many of those outbound as we can that's not actually outbound. You're just kind of leveraging other people's networks if you can do that. So more at-bats is the input, more business is the output. So I'm a big believer in input goals instead of output goals because I can say, hey, I want to make $1 million by the end of the month. That means nothing to nobody. But if I say, hey, I need 50 clients by the end of the month, here's my roadmap to get that. I'm going to send 100 emails a day. I'm going to record 100 minutes of content per day, and I'm going to do $100 in paid ads per day. Now I have a roadmap that I can audit and say, hey, this action's working, this action isn't, X, Y, and Z, right? So input goals, in my opinion, will get you to your output goals. And I've seen that happen. You just may not have the right input. So you need to do something with input goals to figure out if you're even having the right inputs, and then rock and roll as much as you can on finding useful inputs. So basically, this is going to be kind of the walkthrough on how to create those. So the CRM is done here. There's Graham. And we are going to go into the actual CRM itself and grab what that looks like. So I'm going to show you how it all connects. Let's see if I can find the sheet. So this is all the research actually that went into the class, including the prompt pack. So on the landing page there is a prompt pack, and here is the Google Sheet CRM. So you can see it's very basic. It's really, really similar to what most people have, which is contacts. So you want the contact's name, the relationship, the lead source, the stage, how they preferred to be communicated with, all that stuff. And so there's a lot of just little things here that the AI will answer that you don't necessarily have to. People used to be like, oh, I hate managing spreadsheets, and I do too. AI is really, really good at managing spreadsheets because it knows the cell, what it says, how the stuff underneath it relates. It's very, very simple for an AI to make definitive judgments, because you can say, hey, go to this column, find this person, and execute this, right? Like you can give it very clear instructions based on the CRM. You can say, hey, go find this person, and actually we can do that now. Oh, and I'm out of usage, super fun. So you can see here, prefers plain answers and short checklists. So that's like the details of how did they want to be communicated with, right? So we want to make sure that we're merging our authentic style with how they are best receiving it, right? And so I don't want to give someone a super verbose, very long email if they're like, hey, I just want the facts, and then I trust you to manage all that stuff on the back end. There are going to be people that are like, I don't trust you to manage anything. I want to know everything that's going on. Great, you can rock and roll and do that. And a lot of people are like, well, this is my work style, this is how I do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be, because you can change it to their work style to make them feel, hey, this person is really connecting with me on a level that other real estate agents are not. And then you can see this is all the touch points. So it's got the contact ID, so which contact got hit with which touch point. So you can also see, based on this, you can have the AI analyze it and say, oh, every time you send a report detailing the things that they want, that seems to get a positive response. And so you know that part of your sales process should be, I'm going to have the AI analyze, send them a report based on the school district, based on the neighborhood, based on whatever it is that are the meaningful points for them to move forward with the deal. And again, it goes back to solving the problem in their style with your authenticity. So if you can solve for them something that they highly value, but you can do it in a way that they're working with you for a reason, right? And that reason is they liked something about whatever it was that you presented. Maybe they like your kindness, maybe they like your logistics, maybe they like the way you engineer a process, whatever it is that's authentic to you, that's the reason they're working with you. So don't change that. Incorporate the way that they best communicate into that, right? And so this is going to have, and again, if you're working with like a Go High Level, a Salesforce, stuff like that, it's going to save all this, and you can use these same processes to do that. So you can see that they're in post-close care. So you shared the closing document checklist. The client needed a missing warranty record. The promise made was send the warranty contact. I'm the promise owner. When was that? And what is the next step? And then you can actually have the AI create and do the next step, right? And so, oh, I need to go into my email, get this document, download it. attach it to an email, write the email, and send that out to the client, right? You can, if the connectors are connected like we did last week, and everything is into the resource sheet here, or your CRM, whatever you're using, you can say, hey AI, analyze my sheet, and you can do this at the end of the day. You can do it at the end of your client interaction. You can even set up scheduled tasks to do it, so it does it automatically if there's a certain workflow that happens every day. And you can say, hey, go through my CRM, identify any outstanding things that I need to do, and draft all outbound communication. Do not send anything. That's the way I personally do it. Some people go right from do X, Y, and Z, send them the email. That's fine. But for me personally, if there's anything that's irreversible, I like to have a review step for a human to say, hey, I would never say this. Hey, that got this information wrong, whatever the case may be. And so I always go basically in this type of workflow, I go from research to email draft. I will then review the email and press the send button, or review the email, have the AI fix it, or fix it myself, and then go through the send button. Once you press the send button, it's sent, and it's either problems or solutions, right? And so you want to make sure that you're not stepping into problems that are completely unnecessary because you trusted an AI that is giving bad information, right? And we are not yet at the place where, at least for me personally, that I trusted enough to say, hey, this is an irreversible decision, go for it. I still believe that there has to be a human in the loop somewhere. And the cool thing about this is, like we kind of talk about, human connection can be built or destroyed by AI. If you're the human in the loop, you can use it to build connection rather than make dumb mistakes that a client knows is an AI and not directly from you. So having it be able to do these next steps without actually you having to manually do it is highly useful. And it may not be, oh, I've automated everything end to end, but I've taken an hour and a half process and converted it into a 10-minute process, right? And so there's real tangible value there. And that's all that we should be chasing with AI, is what is actually either increasing my revenue or decreasing my expenses, what is increasing my available time to spend in other places of the business where I want it. That's what these automations and systems should be doing. And then the other thing we've got is problems, because this won't close. So oh, that's funny. Okay, lovely. Let's see if I can do it this way. Okay, so deals. So, and this is kind of like we talked about with context cards. If you have deals here, this can function similar to a context card, right? So you don't necessarily have to keep your context cards out of your CRM. You can move them into the CRM, and this is kind of how it'll function, right? So you have the actual deals. What stage is the deal? The next milestone, all that kind of stuff. And you can put in also, like, what are the key defining features of the deal? What is the cost of the deal? What is the MLS website address of the deal? If you're using Zillow, boo. But you can put the URL in there and still get all of the information that's in Zillow. You can see how, one, an AI agent is interpreting that information, because AI can interpret it differently. The other thing it can do is it can actually go, like, if you have a client and you're like, oh, they saw the Zillow listing, they really love the Zillow listing, let me have this AI go to the Zillow listing, pull the pictures that the client really liked, pull the sales copy that the client really liked, and push that into an asset that's either an email, a landing page, a social content post, whatever it is that particular client really liked, you can now give them a completely personalized interaction with that listing. So if the listing on Zillow's focused on, let's say, bedrooms, bathrooms, and you know that these guys care about school district and walkability of the town, you can have the Zillow listing pull all that information and build it around what are the best schools in the area, what is the walkability score of the town, what are the closest things you can walk to, etc. And again, you can have your vendors be in the CRM as well so that you can kind of pull that in. So this is kind of the verified reasons to contact someone. So the goal with the AI is to create a better contact output. So like I said before, you don't want to just reach out and say, hey, just checking in, how's things, right? Because that's very generic, very easy to skip over if you're a homeowner or someone looking to purchase or whatever. But if you say, hey, 3 new deals just came available in East Nashville, interest rates are going up, I wanted to make sure you saw these before I just moved on or whatever the case is. I wanted to reach out. It's been a while since we've talked. I know you were looking to move before school started. The market's changed in this way. The season's changed in this way. Has your situation changed? Whatever the case is, you can have kind of these value points. And the cool thing about this is these can be used across multiple clients, right? So if you have 3 people that are looking for a home in Hendersonville, you can go, hey, the market's changed. That would impact all 3 of these clients. Let's use this as a tool to reach out to those clients, right? And again, all of the basic CRMs will most likely have the ability to connect to Claude, to OpenAI, to Perplexity, to Anthropic, or to Grok, to Gemini. They all have the ability to connect to those things. And so having an intelligence layer in your CRM, whether that's just a spreadsheet that you have that's basically like a big database of context cards, or whether you have an actual CRM that's being updated, the goal is to move out of the chatbot and into real communication at this point so that you have, oh, I have a reason to send them a text. I'm not just kind of waiting around hoping that I get a deal. I'm actively able to push out multiple communication points. And then also optimizing for business cards, because a lot of people, oh, let me take your information, and then nothing happens with it. There's no follow-up, there's no nothing. If all you have to do is take a picture of that person's information or dictate, hey, I met Kevin Smith at a party, his phone number is X, Y, and Z, his email is this, put this into my CRM and give me a follow-up plan. It changes the ballgame as it relates to making follow-up super accessible to everybody. And that's the thing where not just realtors, but like everybody, all businesses jack themselves, a majority of businesses, not all businesses, but majority of businesses jack themselves on follow-up. I saw a stat the other day that said 90%, between 60 and 90% of businesses do not return follow-up calls within the first 48 hours. Which if you can return a call within the first 2 hours, your close rate of just having that person as a client goes up astronomically. And so if you can take that new contact, convert it into basically a lead by putting it in the sheet, and then have something valuable to say because your AI has done research and said, hey, I noticed you were looking in Hendersonville, you were looking at this price range, I noticed you were telling me how great your family is, whatever it is that you can then add value to. So like, hey, Hendersonville has this really great school. I would love to try to get you something in this district. Hendersonville is super walkable if you're in these points, or whatever the case is that shows that you are really paying attention. And it's not as hard as it used to be, because before it used to be like, okay, I have to take this business card, I have to go type in all the information, I have to try to remember what was said. It's not like that anymore, where you can just literally dictate into an AI and say, hey, fill out my CRM with this guy's contact info. And then you start the cycle of following up in a way that is bespoke to them, it's personalized, it's not templated, it's not it's not cookie cutter, and it's in your language. So like the way I talk is going to be different than the way everybody else talks. I don't know that's a good thing, but that's the other thing that you can do for benefit for this is like I've talked a couple times about how my customer service is not good. I'm an introvert, I'm an engineer. Like if you come to me for customer service, I'm going to give you a solution, not a warm, fuzzy feeling. That being said, because I know people who are really good at customer service, I can take elements of their personality and put it into my communication, and now people get a warmer fuzzy feeling. They're still not the warmest, but a warmer fuzzy feeling and the solution. And so that has been a massive, massive benefit for me personally, and that's something that probably needs to be talked about more, and that's unbundled language. So a lot of people, when they are writing a prompt for AI, they will say, give me a listing for this luxury home. What does luxury mean? It means different things to everybody, right? And so it's the same. I like to tell the story of how with both of my 1-year-olds, there was a story where I was like, hey, can you go bring me that ball? And they just looked at me like, what? And it's because they didn't know what a ball was, right? And so you have to define specifically, hey, go bring me that circle over there that's filled with air and has a star on it. Do they know what those things are? Yes. So they go, they grab it, that's a ball, right? And so luxury, if you just say that, it will usually end up with some type of black and gold text. Usually it's very thick print, and it is very descriptive. But if you say, hey, I want sharp, thin text, I want clean lines, I want good use of white space. And again, that could be better defined if you have like, I want this many pixels in between this word and this word. The more clear you can get, the better. That being said, if you just say, I want better use of white space, you can iterate it forward, right? And so the goal is not to, like for me, when I was taking people's customer service skill, basically, I didn't say, hey, I want you to be kind and nice and whatever, because that's not, the AI's like, all right, I can generalize what that means, but it's like, hey, I want you to use someone's first name in their communication response. I want you to really analyze the problem, and I want you to create language that makes them feel like they are my only customer. I want you to use simple 5th grade language so that it doesn't get too complex. I don't want you to use industry jargon such as return on ad spend is an example for my business. I want you to use real tangible things that are going to connect to this person, such as within 3 miles of a lake is different than close to a lake, right? And so you can get as specific as you want, and the AI will do a better job because you are breaking the language into real things that it can understand, not imaginary concepts that people just kind of hold on to. Like, I have an idea what luxury is. Everyone has an idea what luxury is. And if you were to ask everyone to write it down, it would likely be slightly different. And so that slightly different is why that person is working with you. So define those things as clearly as you can in the workflows, and the AI will do a better job, not just, oh, luxury. Okay, I want X, Y, and Z. So it's very, very specific as it relates to kind of the language that we're using for the AI. And that's really, really it, is try to connect kind of a coherent ecosystem versus every time I get a contact, it's a whole new process, right? Just build one process for your contact collection. And how you collect contacts, it can vary person to person, right? Like you might get networking events. Some people do cold emails. Some people do open houses. Some people just talk to people at coffee shops. Some people, it's all internal family is how they get started. Referrals. However your business is functioning well, you can use AI to optimize it and make it function a little bit better. And that's kind of one of the big things is I prefer that people start with something they're good at versus trying to add something they're not good at, because then you're learning AI and figuring out a deficiency, versus like, hey, I'm now taking this process that I know works that normally takes me 5 hours per week, and I've shrunk it down to an hour per week. Now I know AI and how to implement it in a workflow. Now I can take those 4 hours that I have extra and invest them into building up a channel that I think would be productive. Usually that's social media, email newsletter, like something that you're not doing that is, again, continuing that contact cycle and giving you more at-bats in front of a person. Because if someone liked you enough to buy a house or engage with you about buying a house, if you keep that conversation going, the likelihood is that you will eventually catch them at a point where they are interested in buying a house, versus if you just contact them that one time and then it goes on, they're gonna more than likely go with whatever's in front of them at the time. People have a very, very short attention span, and it's getting shorter based on how our media is consumed, all that kind of stuff. And so if you get your at-bat at the right time, that's where you get home runs. You can't get home runs if you're not stepping into the batter's box, right? You just have to keep the contact cycle fluid. And if it's actually personalized and providing value, it's gonna do a much better job keeping you in front of them and wanting them to be like, oh, like when they open a text from you, it should basically be like, oh, cool, I've got this text. Oh, there's new information. Whether they choose to do anything with it or not, you're providing value, and not just, hey, I'm just calling to check in, because they know that that's a sales ask, right? And people, we've kind of talked about, like, people don't like sales in general. They feel like oftentimes it's intrusive, whatever the case may be. You may catch someone at the right time and they're like, oh, perfect, I was just thinking about X, Y, and Z. Great, and those are awesome. But if you can get a little bit more value pushed in, oftentimes I've seen they have better response rates, even if it's not, hey, I'm ready to buy a house right now. Even if they're just engaging with you on like, hey, I'm so glad you reached out. I need to get my gutters cleaned and I don't have anyone to do that. Do you know anyone? Yes, here's my vendor list, right? And if you have resources for them, they will keep coming back to you, and that means they will keep coming back to you with the buying decision as well. A lot of people focus on, oh, if they can't buy or do something for me right now, I'm not necessarily interested in continuing to chat with them. But if you can make that chatting so easy and providing value so easy that it's no extra work for you, it makes it easier to provide value, so that when they're ready to provide value to you, you've already provided so much value to them, they're not even thinking about going anywhere else. They're locked in because you have been helping them, not only since you met them, but since they closed, since experiences where other realtors or real estate agents would go dark and there would be no communication and there's no expected communication on their end, they're like, oh, great, the transaction's done, rock and roll. And then they'll never hear from majority of their realtors ever again. But if you're the realtor that's like, oh, I've continued to provide value throughout the whole life cycle of them owning the house and then wanting to move, the likelihood is that they're never going to go anywhere else for real estate transaction. And retention is something that is probably the easiest way to build a business. If you can get, so whether they're like, oh, hey, I just got a bonus at work, I want to buy an investment property. My mom's moving. There's so many reasons that people may have to give you an additional sale. You just have to be the one that's making the effort to be in front of them when they are ready to provide that additional sale, right? And so like stuff like this is the easiest way to do it, in my opinion, especially now with AI, because you can go hyper personalized. You can really scale out your communication with them in a way that's actually valuable. You don't have to just hope that what you're doing is providing value, because you have touch points with them. You know what they want. It's in your system. And every time you reach out, your system is analyzing, what did we send them last? What value can we send them now? All that kind of stuff. So the value in a CRM is very, very high. In my opinion, if you don't have a CRM that connects with an AI, I would recommend looking elsewhere for your CRM solution. And I don't say that lightly. I know that CRM migrations are not the easiest task in the world. although they are much easier now with AI. And the vendors know that. And that's why they are trying to allow you to connect that CRM to whatever AI model you use, right? Because the vendors know that in a worst case scenario, they may just leave and take their business with them. They might, like I've heard recently of a business that completely moved away from Salesforce and is saving about $700,000 a year by having their own CRM in-house. And so the companies are getting nervous about that kind of stuff, and so they are making it as easy as possible to connect so that they can retain your data. And if you keep your data there and you use an intelligence layer, it makes it much more powerful to be able to reach out to them. You can even set a scheduled task that will analyze the CRM and say, hey, you should reach out to these 4 people this week. I think next week we'll probably go over scheduled tasks and like how I use them to automate my outreach. I use them to automate even cleaning up old files on my computer and organizing my computer. All of that happens on a weekly basis without me having to do anything now. And that kind of stuff are the automations that are kind of game-changing with the AI. And so human connection is still the name of the game in real estate, in my opinion. And I think that having the ability to make that as easy as possible should be something that we're all moving towards, because I think the top agents in the world are moving in a way that is faster than your average real estate agent, and it is more systems driven than just kind of the hodgepodge that's very easy to do. But if you can organize it and have it categorized and have AI help you understand, hey, let's make these contact points, like you can even have it create ideas for those reach outs. You can say like, hey, I haven't reached out to anyone on my CRM this week. Do some research and just create reasons for me to reach out. Don't fabricate them, but go find what those reasons could be that is going to have me reach out, whether that's Federal Reserve news, whether that's economic news on the state of Tennessee or whichever state you're in. Whatever the case is, you can have the AI go out and identify what those reasons are so that they can actually have value. Yeah, I think that's it.
Very cool. So having the AI talk to your CRM or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is that something that is automatic or easy to do, like in Gmail or Google? Is that where the Gemini, I would use Gemini to do something like that?
Yeah.
Like one of the things I thought about as you were talking is that I don't have a good updated vendor list anymore.
Okay, yep.
And I thought, oh, could I tell AI to go through and, like, in my phone list, I have people, it'll say handyman beside them, like, could it go look for all my handyman and
100%.
put them together?
Yep, 100%, yeah. So if you have like a good contact list, you can have it parse that. You could even have it parse third party. So like if you're like, we had a really good plumber in Hendersonville, but I can't remember his name. You can have that go search for plumbers, and then you can be like, oh, Larry's Plumbing, that's who it was, right? And so like, yeah, you can absolutely have it refine your lender or your vendor list.
So how would I do that? How would I tell him right now, go through my phone list and find all my handyman?
So let me see, with Android, you would want it to have access to your contacts. So what I would do is I would probably use either ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, something on your phone, and say, hey, I need you to go through my contacts and create a list of valuable contacts for my real estate business. You could also, because I think it's online as well, I think you can get your Google Contacts online. You could go into your desktop app and do it there as well. And so you should be able to basically, honestly, what the easiest thing to do would be to open up ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity and say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I have a bunch of vendors in my phone who are valuable that I want to be able to give to clients. I need you to go through my phone and collect a list of every vendor I have and put them in a Google Sheet or put them in a spreadsheet. And then, so like this is a list of plugins on, this is the OpenAI app. So this is Codex, but you can see here, it's got a whole list of plugins and vendors and connections. Connections means something different here, which is your phone is hooked up to it. But you can search. So if I search Slack and then let me see. Connectors are super easy to use with Claude. If Claude ever opens.
Okay, so what he said is I can't scan or export your contacts to Google Sheets with my current tools. And then it gives me an opportunity to run as a separate task in computer for better results.
Okay, yeah, so let's try running it on your computer and say, hey, I've got a Google ecosystem. I need to pull information from my contacts so that I can organize my contacts and create a Google Sheet. So I know with Apple, it's easy because everything's a SQL database on because it syncs, everything's a database that AI can just and go get. And I think there is, if you do Perplexity Computer on your computer, I think your contacts are saved online on Google somewhere. And so if you say, hey, this is what I need, go to my Google contacts and go get it, I think it would actually control the browser, go to your contacts, and then literally go through one by one and pull them into a spreadsheet.
Okay, this is what I pushed the little computer button and I thought I was going to be typing something in, but it just went and did something on its own.
Love to see it.
And it says to go through your phone contacts and build the sheet, I need you to connect both Google Contacts, assuming your Android phone syncs contacts, there it does,
Yep.
and Google Sheets. Please connect both and let me know once you're done. So I would say, how do I do that?
Yep. No, and this is perfect.
How do I do that?
And that's the exact example of why I'm trying to put myself out of business. Because if you can do that, you completely don't need me. I'm just a security blanket at that point, which is what I want, right? Like that's.
Well, then I totally still need you.
Yeah.
Because it said something went wrong. Please go again.
Yep. So I would push it on.
It's working.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work on phone, I would push to computer because it does have more tools and more capability still on the computer than it does phone. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that right there is one of the simplest ways to use the AI that, like, I use that stuff all the time where I'm like, go through my computer and find any plumbers that I've ever used. Give me those as an example. And then when someone from one of the mobile home parks is like, hey, I have this backup and I don't know what to do, I can go right to my list and be like, here's 4 plumbers that you can call right now. That I got an email one time that was, the title of the email at 2 a.m. was overflowed poop. And this was before AI. That's not the email you want to get. And so I'm calling plumbers at 2 a.m. instead of having a vendor list that I can just send them. And so that is probably one of my most memorable, like, oh, if I had AI, that situation would have been completely different. It would have been solved much more quickly. Because not only can I send them that, but I can post those vendors on a website that's just for our tenants at the mobile home parks, right? And so all the ones in Minnesota, in this particular area of Minnesota, they only have access to the ones that are there, right? Whereas the ones in Missouri have access to the ones in Missouri. And there's multiple of each so that they can go and they can be like, hey, this is awesome, like rock and roll.
Well, probably better than any other industry that I know of, is that list of people like that. You know,
Yes.
I know because I've done it since the 80s.
Yep. Yeah.
I know every freaking
Yeah. That's exactly.
mortgage person. I
Yeah.
know the good and the bad.
Yep.
I know all of the builders. I know all the attorneys.
Right.
And I can just boom, boom, boom. But we don't have the things that we kind of suck at, is having that together in some sort of real
Yes. It's resource management.
base, because our personalities are that we're just
Yeah, yep, 100%. Yeah. Like the amount of times that I've been like, okay, I need a lender. Okay, what was that lender that did a really good job with low income people in this area? I don't remember. Okay, now I don't have a resource that I know I have, right? And so being able to have a list of them that, like, imagine if you would have had AI in the 80s and you would have a comprehensive list of every vendor you used historically. I mean, it would be a game changer for people who are like, I don't have anyone to clean my gutters. Great, I've got a list of 38 people that do it.
And people, I used to have a concierge list that I
Yep.
called it that I would do, and I would have people contact me all the time wanting to know how much to get onto my list.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, no, that ain't how you get on.
Right, you get on there.
You off.
Right, you get on there by doing a good job, right? Because that's my reputation that's on that list, right? Like the only thing, it's your reputation. And so I want that list to be comprised of, hey, definitely use this guy, but also, hey, definitely don't use this guy. This guy's a scam artist. Like you should have both. Like human guardrails as well. Like I'm guardrailing my clients from getting suckered by this guy who has somehow been in business for 10 years but sucks. Like there's, 100%. Like you can... That's a really good point. You can modulate the good and the bad. You not only, hey, use these people, but hey, be careful if you choose to use these people, right? I don't want to create a liability situation where I'm telling someone not to use someone, but I will 100% be like, hey, if you use this person, he scammed me out of $10,000, right? Like,
and having AI be able to keep that list up to date, because what happened with my concierge list is that it would get outdated.
100%.
It's outdated. I didn't send it anymore.
Right.
I didn't take the time to fix it.
Yep, exactly.
Whereas I could just say.
Now you can fix it in seconds. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing is this is one of those that's like, it might not be a direct sales benefit right now, but the ability to save hours in maintaining a list and keeping an actual asset that you have that provides value to people is so valuable in the long term. And people tend to forget that because it's not dollar signs flashing right in front of their face. But it is like, oh my goodness, this realtor was the best person I've ever worked with. They literally solved every problem I had in the transaction. And then after I closed, they kept solving my problems. I'm going to refer everyone to them. And honestly, if you get the right person that's a referral person, like I've heard story, I'm not... because of the mobile home park business, like I'm not doing like one-off referrals, but I've literally heard stories of people who are like, yeah, I got this one person and they just do short-term flips and I'm basically their only real estate agent and they kind of provide all of my deals, right? And so that's a good and bad thing because you have a consistent deal flow. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket because if that deal flow goes away, like I've heard horror stories of deal flows going away because that person did something stupid or whatever. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. But if you can create multiple baskets through the efficiency of AI, you now have very easy deal flow, simple deal flow.
From our standpoint, from a liability standpoint,
Yep.
we have to have really at least 3 people that we might recommend.
Right, yes.
Not just thinking we're doing it for
right, yeah.
reasons, or
yep.
they have and everybody can have a bad experience.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but that would be, all of those things just make me, my mind just goes crazy thinking, oh, wow, what that would be.
Right.
That.
Yeah. And the simple part is like a lot of people, and it's kind of what we talked about, is if you have the ability to, I've started this project, it didn't end up where I wanted, but I know how to iterate it forward. And after 4 or 5 iterations and say 4 or 5 hours on the front end, it now takes me 10 minutes a week to maintain this beautiful asset that people are like really interested in. That's worth it almost 100% of the time, in my opinion.
Off subject.
Yeah.
One of the other things I was going to talk to you about, I'd had a conversation with a couple of the agents. We have a group on Wednesdays that we do just kind of a little round table.
Yeah.
And I had asked them, I said, why doesn't anybody come to them?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
I'm like, I just think they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the answers that I got is that they feel like it's over their head. They feel overwhelmed by it.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yep.
And I had a thought that you and I might want to think about. I am very good at knowing the realtor and at training realtors and that sort of thing. I also already kind of have a trust with realtors.
Oh, for sure.
They know I just kind of say what I really think.
Yeah. Yep.
And we have a class that I do. We have a lender and a broker and an attorney.
Okay, yeah.
And we do a contract class.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And it's a very successful class. It's really cool for an agent to be there to ask a contract
100%.
and have those three
For sure.
Think differently about it.
Yep.
So I was thinking, if you're interested, I would be interested in maybe doing a class together.
Definitely.
And you being the AI guru and me being the broker.
100%.
And then doing something as simple as maybe just one topic.
Yep.
Or do it in like a 101.
Yeah.
Intermediate.
Yep.
Because anything tech, it's very difficult with realtors because they're all at such different
Yes.
levels.
Yep.
And the ones that are techie are so irritated with the patient.
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
And then the opposite, it's too over their head.
Right. Yeah. And I have an AI 101 that we can super easy to work through, and then you can just interject and like, hey, why don't you explain that more? Hey, like, and then 100%. I'd be all the way down for that. Yeah. And we can do like AI 101, AI 102, AI whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And like from I know nothing about LLMs and AI to I'm actually building workflows that are actually like doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
So I'm 100% down for that because, like I said, I forgot to do my Ryan's an idiot, anyone can do this story this week. And so I don't have to travel very far. I'm actually wearing a wire today. And when I say that, I mean I forgot a belt. So I'm literally wearing a wire. So if you need evidence that literally anyone can do this, the person teaching the class is literally wearing a wire for a belt. So anyone can do it, I promise you. And yeah, it's a very learnable skill, and like I'm all for, that would be amazing. I would love to do that.
We ought to just do something, just do one thing, and we could do it and send it through so we could get credit.
Yep, yeah.
Get them seed credit
Yep.
for it. And maybe something that, giving them a little tidbit, like becoming discoverable on AI, or having your CRM work for you.
Yep.
Or, just a little tidbit, keeping it simple, but open it up for questions.
Yeah.
Because they really like that.
Yeah.
They learn from what everybody else asked.
Yep.
That sort of thing.
Well, and I was thinking too, I wanted to get your thoughts on potentially if we did like maybe once a month or something like that, where I would just come here for the workday. I would just park my computer here. I will do my normal work that I normally do. Anyone who wants to come in and get one-on-one coaching, mentorship, ask questions, figure it out, I will be there all day on this day, per month, like, and you can just come hang out and you watch me work. I can show you what to do. I can like literally actually solve kind of one-to-one problems.
Love it.
And I think that would make it
Welcome here. You're always welcome.
perfect.
Yeah, we could do that for sure. And we have, plenty of space for you. You could be anywhere you wanted to be. So I love that.
Yeah, I think that would, again, it kind of, I know for me, like in school, it was, I got shamed into not asking questions. And so people carry that with them into adulthood, right? And so like, I don't want to ask this question because I might look stupid. So I'd rather than look stupid, I would rather just not understand the information as well.
Yeah,
and so
what do they call that at Apple? It's ask a, like Apple store.
Yeah.
Like ask a guru, but that's not really.
Ask a genius, I think.
Yeah, like that,
Yeah, yep. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, like 100%. And so I think that's like, and two, like kind of getting people to the place that you are now, which is like, you're not like a computer scientist by any means, but you're using AI to solve the problems, right? Like you're like, hey, I've got this contact idea that I think I could do. AI, help me do it. Okay, you ran into a problem. AI, what do I do next? And like you understand how to get into the problem solving cycle so that you can move yourself closer to solutions. A lot of people never understand even how to get into the problem solving loop. They just stay outside of it and they're like, AI, why aren't you working? Help.
You don't even think it's possible.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Literally with one of the things that I got from you sitting right here in this space was waiting for you to finish up something so I could ask you the question of how, and I'm like, I just asked Perplexity how to do things.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And we talked about it at the class. So Robert was my husband. He's a linguistics freak. He's kind of a freak anyway.
That's awesome.
So he's wants to learn how, he speaks 5 languages. And
That's
so now
awesome.
he wants to speak, what is it, Slavic language or something.
Let's go.
And he talks to me about it, which I could care less, right?
Yep.
So he's over there and he's like, I really want to do the Slavic languages and I don't know which one I want to do. And there's, if you knew one, you kind of know the other, I said, have you asked Perplexity yet?
Yep, that's exactly right, yeah.
Asked her what? I said, which are Slavic languages and what's the words you need to know? So he puts it in there. He said, oh my God, there's only 2,000 words. I can memorize 2,000 words.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So then he's like, what 2,000 words,
Yep.
And he literally, and he got free computer that day.
Oh, nice, yeah. Okay, yep.
So he got that. But he now, Robert will know, what is it, Polish, Russian, and something. There's no doubt.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's...
He's got his list, and he's studying them in year. He's not allowed to practice German when I'm in the house.
Okay.
It sounds like he's hacking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just so angry. It's such an angry language. Yeah, yep, I get it. Yep.
So every time somebody says something about, oh, you don't speak German, he's like, my wife won't let me say it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's so like if you're a lifelong learner, the ability to upskill into literally whatever you want is accessible to everyone now. And you still need to validate like, hey, is this thing leading me astray? Like all that kind of stuff. 100%.
Easy stuff.
Oh yeah. And I mean,
you're smarter than that. That's I told you.
Oh.
Like, you're smarter than that.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. Yep.
And then you tell, and then they almost are kind of like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yep. No, 100%. Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
That's so bizarre to me.
And everything is accessible. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Like if you have something that you're like, I want to learn this skill or I want to do this thing, it's accessible.
Right.
And people are...
But you got to get your mind open to it. Because like just me asking you that today, I would have never asked that a couple of times.
Right, yeah.
It's silly. Like,
yep.
Oh, can I just get her to do it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Because you're like, oh, it's trapped in this chat box. You don't know what you don't know. And as soon as you start, one, being curious, and like, two, play is like knocked out of us in school and in normal work. It's like you're not supposed to be curious. You're not supposed to be creative. You're not supposed to solve for new novel solutions, all this kind of thing. You're supposed to check the boxes and paint by the numbers. And it's like, not anymore. You don't have to do that. You can just Like, again, it goes back to, like, I walk into businesses with oranges from time to time, right? And so it's just a novel approach. And if you have the ability to take something that you've created in your brain and put it into an AI and say, hey, help me debate this idea. Is it a good idea? What needs to change? What should I go all in on? All this kind of stuff. You have starting points, right? And so a lot of people, it's the Salvador Dali quote where it's like the hardest thing for a painter is a blank canvas, right? And so many people just are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what this can do. Help. And it's like, okay, well, it can do whatever you want. You just need to figure out how to get into the same problem-solving loop over and over and over again. And once you know how to do that, and that might be the AI class, is how do you get into an AI problem-solving loop? Because that's the thing that will take you the farthest, is I know how to solve my personal problem with an AI, or I know at least how to get started solving my personal problem. I know how to get an output, and I know how to move that output down the track so that eventually it's very valuable. And I think almost all problems are roughly the same as it relates to how do I solve them, right? Like the actions you need to take to solve them are different, but like how do I create an action plan? How do I build that workflow? How do I map that out? You can do that roughly the same way.
Exactly.
Yep.
Pattern.
Yeah, it's all pattern matching. Yeah. Yep. 100%.
I think of you every time I hear that. At church, our pastor was talking about, and I'm like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's all pattern matching. Like the amount of things that I've solved by being like, oh, I've noticed this pattern in my business and this pattern in my prayer life or my church or my family or my whatever. It's all interconnected, and you can solve for it.
Yeah. Another person that I noticed, and I've sent